So you can see the sunshine over Shavers End Quarry, and I'm about twice the distance away from it as I was in the last ride when you couldn't see anything. On the opposite side of the river to where I was last time, Astley is there somewhere, and just coming in and out of the fog or the low cloud is Abley Clock Tower, and then there's Woodbury Hill, and then in front of Woodbury Hill there's the two, is that a third one? Well, there's definitely two Wellingtonias in Shrawley Wood there, very tall coniferous trees, and there's Shrawley Wood in its entirety there. I'm not sure if I can see Clee Hill from here. It would be in that general direction, but it might be too cloudy. But it's a gorgeous day. It's brightened up quite a lot. There's a fair amount of traffic about for people on the way to the golf club, and there's also a stunning view over towards the Malvern Hills over there. Worcestershire beacon in front, and then I think Herefordshire beacon's clouded over. If I remember correctly, there's two peaks there. The second one along is Worcestershire, Herefordshire's behind it. Worcestershire is the highest one, if I remember correctly. And then in front of that there's a line of hills. The Malvern Ridge peters out a bit, but all of this is all part of the sort of fault line, because Shavers End is a limestone quarry. Yeah, it is limestone, but what we're stood on here is sandstone, and then there's this sort of, where the Severn Valley is, there's this sort of lumpy fault liney bit. Malvern Hills is also not sandstone, but then Stourport rests on sandstone, so does Kidderminster over to Clent. That's all very sandstony. Astley, that's Church's sandstone, so bike's running well. So for the next bit we're off to the tree. I wasn't going to go to it, well, I wasn't going to go to it when it was misty, but I will do today. It's in the direction of the gunfire, so that sounds fun. Better view of Malvern from over here. And there's also I think there's a church over there. Now what could that be? Definitely a church, I think. Could it be Hallow? Or could it be Ombersley? Or could it be something completely different? I can't see if it's a church or a tree. So we'll head off to our tree. Listen to the sounds of the country, the horse and the aeroplane and the birds. No, sorry, I made a mistake with the geography. Clear, it'll be that way. There's a horse. A lot of these around, this sort of breed. Yeah, that's looking towards Cleal over Wild Forest sort of direction. Lots of traffic for the golf club going around. That's brand new, Little Owl Farm Park. I've never heard of it. I've seen it before, and I'm sure I rode past here in May this year. But it also says stop solar on our very best farmland. No farm, no food. No farmland, no food. So we'll all it's a car pull out in front of a car. There's also a good view opening out in a minute. Another stop solar. All the way over towards Droitwich Way, Wychbold and all of that. All of Worcestershire and the flat Severn Plain. Golf club traffic. I say it's busy, it's nowhere near busy compared to this road. This is the A449, this is. Full of Sunday traffic. We'll see how long we're here for. It's reading that no HGV access for ethical power solar farm, follow diversion. So they're obviously up building something. They used to run TTs on here, but the course was cancelled because of all the deaths. It was always club ride. Club ride would come down here and then come down this lane. Morning. So it's not too far along to the tree now. It's much nicer going this way because it's always downhill compared to uphill to the ridge. Very easy 18 mile an hour this. But when you're coming back and when you've done the club ride, it's a lot worse. I thought I'd stop along the way to look at St Mary's at Doverdale, just because of the spire on it really. I don't know anything about it. There's a ha-ha here, which is a ditch and wall, so the sheep can't get over. It's a way of not building fences, avoiding building fences, although there's a little one up around it. I've seen also a familiar sticker. Interesting grave. Arthur Tuck, for several years faithful servant of the Reverend G.E. Larden M.A., rector of this parish, died May something 1837, aged I think that says 25, but I'm not sure. It's just nice architectural features. I'm appreciating it in ignorance, is what I'm doing. I wouldn't know if it's open or not. Nah, doesn't look like it. Plough. That must be the old rectory there. So it's nice architectural features, but no porch or tap. There's a war memorial. Pater, probably the worst bell ringer in the village, but definitely the best dad in the world. Ah, nice pleasant spot. The tree is not far now. I can see the Witchbold masts over directly in front on the horizon. Woodpecker, I think. Yeah. No. Don't know. What's that? Can't see from here. I bet I won't get a silhouette. I'll only get a silhouette. Anyway, you can see sandstone still. Oh, there's a tap actually, connected to a hose pipe. So that's something. Although the hose pipe would be a bit unpleasant to drink out of. But it's better than nothing on a hot day. A lovely spire. So we'll press onto the tree now. Just heading off from the church. Off to the tree, it's the next junction. And the bike is suffering for being white on a dirty day. It's the Church of St Mary. I don't know where that lane goes, but I know it's a dead end. I just don't know if it goes to a bridleway, but either way, I shan't be taking the bike along it today. We've arrived at the Tree of Perspective, and I have found my brick, which I placed in the field in May, and which I've used more or less since 2020. I don't know how much more the GoPro filmed after Doverdale, but it switched itself off again. I can't switch it on. That's the second time in the ride that it's packed up like that. I set off with a fully charged battery, so don't know what's going on there. But we're at the tree now. There is more growth in the field than I expected. Must be ready for next year's harvest. Planted and seeded and ready to go. First time seeing the tree in winter time. I've seen it in spring, summer and autumn, but never in winter. So that's the first. The next village is Canal Green, and then headed off towards Elmley Castle. Well, I do like you get a good perspective here. All the way to the tree. It's hard to believe it's over 4 years since the last visit. Well, the first visit. I'm sorry. The last visit was May this year. First visit was April 2020 to September 2020 I visited. And I didn't return until 2022 in September. And September 23 and May 24. I can hear the water in the field. Probably clouding over a bit. They say it's going to rain at some point. You can just about see the top of Woodbury Hill or Aberley Hill from here on the horizon, but the view's closed in a bit. Malverns are over there, over where the light is, look. But we're not heading that way. Jackdaw's just flown behind the tree. A bird that's landed in it. So we'll head on to Canal Green and then to Elmley Castle and try and find the house that was painted by A.R. Quinton. Now, I've messed up a bit because Elmley Castle is not next to Elmley Lovett, which is where I am. Elmley Castle's here, down by near Evesham, whereas I'm up by Elmley Lovett up here, so quite a bit further away than what I thought. It's 19 miles away, so I think that's a ride for another day, actually. Unfortunately, just stopped this bloke in the Range Rover because I always thought Elmley Castle was a village up a dead-end lane, but it isn't. And so what I'll do is I'll head back today and then go out later on in the week and look for it then. Hopefully I'll have enough time before I go back to Aber. But that has irritated me a bit, getting that wrong, because I was expecting to see it today, but I'm obviously not as local as what I thought I was. Getting lost around my own lanes, but now I know where it is for sure. I can make another trip out to it at some point at least. But I'll head back for now. Wash the bike off because it's a good ride out. I think I've got rid of the cold that I was coming down with. But yeah, so It's only 11:45, but it's going to be for another day, I think. Ah, it's a pity. But well, you learn to read the map properly before you go out, won't you? Yeah. Anyway, I'll press on. There's a view over to the Clent Hills. And the Hartlebury incinerator's burning. I'll pass by that in a second. Bit of a problem, but I'm only on Wilden Top, so the fly that was, sorry. It's alright. I noticed it at In Lane and I pumped it at In Lane. It's lasted to Wilden Top, so I'm going to pump it up and it should last up to Timber Lane onto Leapgate, and I can walk from there. I've got the pump just under my jersey here. I couldn't be bothered to change it and get filthy dirty. I'll do it with the tools at home, because I'll have to buy a tube probably. Maybe go into Kidderminster tomorrow and see if I can borrow my dad's bike. But yeah, it's turned into a bit of an interesting ride. Nice to see Stourport Basins. I hope you found that interesting, and the tree is nice to see. And then getting confused with where Elmley Castle was, and now puncture. So it's my first puncture this year. It's actually my first puncture since 2020, I think. Because the Wombat, those tyres, they're very strong. These are Continental Gator skins, which are also very good, but they are getting on for 8, maybe 9 years old, so they've been stood a lot in the loft, so and the roads, some of the roads today were very bad, so I'll pump this up. I don't know if I annoyed a bloke, because I pumped the tyre up and then I pulled out into the traffic because I didn't want it to go down, so that was probably a bit silly, but I wouldn't normally have pulled out like that. Just got to get down this hill and then I can walk. So my mood has just changed from being rather sad to rather happy, because initially I opened the pump and you see this black bit here, if I can get the focus in correct. This black bit, it came right out, and so the pump, it all came out like that. You can see the washers come off, so I'll have to fix that at home, but I was very pleased not to have lost that screw-in piece. I thought it had pinged out on Wilden Top, but obviously I'd used it too harshly and nearly broken it, but it's okay. This is Leapgate, old railway line, which ran from Hartlebury to Stourport, where there was a station. There was a halt at Burlish, and then it ran up to junction near Bewdley. I'm going to walk from here. I'm going to go up the lane and through the estate, because that looks a bit, mind you, that'd be a bit short versus broad as long, really, doesn't really matter. There used to be some steps up there, but they've got rid of them. So we'll be heading off, walking. So, what an end to the ride, eh? don't know why that's so dark all of a sudden. Oh, there we go. It's bright again. I don't know what happened there. I pressed the star button. I don't know what that does. Anyway, we'll walk up there. So this is the Leakgate Old Railway Line cyclocross race, of which I'm the only participant. Less than a mile walk in there. I was lucky. I was thinking I'd have to borrow my dad's bike and cycle all the way back to Wilden Top to the end of that pump, but I won't have to. I'll just have to give everything a good wash. I'll have to go into Halfords though for a new inner tube, because I've got one spare, but that's the only one. This is a pedestrian tunnel which takes you into where the Bird in Hand pub is, that way in that direction, and then the footpath takes you across to Wilden. But I'm heading up. You can see the canal now. We're below canal level at the moment. Climb up to it and then up the steps onto Longboat Lane. Nearly forgot it then. We're on the old railway line now, and I'll just explain a bit how well you can see through the gloom, but the old Beams pub is just there. That's where that tunnel comes out. That direction is Basins. This direction is towards Kidderminster. Kidderminster, and then this is the old railway line. That there is an old basin, and you can see the butts of the sidings there for the railway. And then all of these houses here, these were all, this was like a sidings and goods yard. The railway line obviously continued on flat. Up gently to the road, so there's a lot of land that's been dug away here. We go around the corner. Yeah, so we'd be heading below track level, but then we come back up to meet it in a minute, and Stourport railway station would have been just up here. None of these houses were built. These were all built late 80s, I think. Some ducks having a bit of a fight. You can see the railway would have come down here, and then that's the length of the basin. The siding butts are over there. Station would have been up here, and the landscape is completely different now. So there's only a couple of streets to my house, and I'll say a ride of many events. I did 2 of the 3 things that I wanted to do, so I'm happy with that. Yes, there is a bit of a big fight going on with the ducks, but the swans are alright. So I'll leave you with the swans, and hope to get to Elmy Castle at some point in the next week or so, but we'll see. Thanks very much for watching, and until next time, cheerio.